Hey folks, hopefully everyone's doing well out there. Just gonna drop another episode of Themes of the Season. This one's gonna be a little bit more informal. I just don't have the time to edit, and the first day of my pre-rut slash rutcation starts tomorrow. So we're just gonna throw something on the YouTube here, and hopefully you guys can find it informational and useful for your own situations. So the first topic I wanted to talk about was scrapes. Of course, scrapes are awesome to hunt this time of year. However, I wanted to talk about the correlation between big rain fronts and basically just moisture and scrapes. The longer I hunt, the more I notice that after those rain systems or big rain fronts, it seems like those scrapes are hit heavy, heavy, heavy. I think prime example of that was I think it rained out 12th, 13th, and maybe the morning of the 14th, and right after that, the scrapes were on fire. I have buddies telling me that on all their trail cameras, just based off of my observations in the woods and scouting some primary scrape areas that I'm familiar with. The scrapes were on fire right after that rain front. And I believe we got a couple rain system or moisture making systems coming up here. So that's something you might want to consider. The second video I wanted to talk about was how bucks are starting to make that transition to more of a focus on breeding rather than like bed to food. What I mean by this is they're starting to move to their annual breeding territories, if you will. Based off all the reports from people at work and some of my closer buddies, they're seeing that same thing out in the woods and on their trail cameras. They're just starting to see more and more bucks shift towards, deer communication hubs, those primary scrape areas, which you'd expect this time of year. Another thing is that they're starting to see bucks more and more closer to daylight and throughout daylight now, which in the past, previous 10 days, they weren't seeing that activity. So that transition is definitely occurring, and something we're all getting excited for. The third topic that I wanted to talk about in this video is social hubs on public ground. It's a little bit different than private ground. For example, you're not going to have like your food plots, field edges where deer can show up in daylight, depending on the area you're hunting and whatnot. I don't know everyone's situation. But areas where I see this on public land, what I call a social hub, is areas of diversity where you have 3 different habitat types within like 100 yards circumference of each other. For example, hunts where I've had success in the past have been like a cornfield next to a prairie grass type field, CRP field, and like in Oak Ridge with a cut in it. That's been pretty productive this time of year for me. It just seems like those are really good gathering points for deer and especially bucks this time of year. Another area that I can think of is a little creek bottom with a cut bean field, and I think it was like an apple tree thicket with like some CRP grass mixed in. Another great area for deer to congregate and do their socializing this time of year. It just seems like a lot of primary scrapes are in those areas as well. So I think, if you're trying to find deer on public land, just look at those areas with the most habitat diversity. Well, hopefully you guys thought that part of the video was informational. Hopefully you guys can benefit from it. I don't know. I just like talking about deer strategy. I just love deer hunting. But anyway, what do we got going forward here? Like I said, I got the next 9 days off, I believe. Just some of the strategy that I'm going to be using is trying to find the hottest sign that I can and relate it to buck bedding areas where I know there's good bucks. Really observing what's happening in a rub, smelling that rub, seeing how fresh it is. Is that rub tacky? Where's that rub coming from? Looking at scrapes. You know, is there tracks in it? Is there big tracks? What direction is the tracks heading? Is that licking branch busted off freshly? I mean, there's just a number of questions that's going through my head this time of year, and how to relate that back to where they're coming from. I guess going forward too is water. I believe that water is still going to be an absolute gem if you find watering holes in the right areas. That's going to be a big focus of mine, and I know a lot of my buddies are going to try and take advantage of watering holes this year. I just want to get this video out to you guys now. I'm done rambling. Good luck to y'all out there. This pre-rut is awesome. My favorite time of year to hunt. Let's go. Get out there. Let's kill some bucks. That's all I got. Have a good night.